Well, it's 3 a.m. It begins. There's only about 4 days before MSI happens. Hi, my name's Sebastian. This is Vision Denial on the road to MSI, where I watch the playoff series of every region participating in MSI. Yes, including that one and this one here with FunPlus Phoenix versus Edward Gaming. This was a 5-game series. Holy Toledo Joe, was it ever a 5-game series? And I mean like in the best way. So let me take a swig and we'll get right into it. This is water, not alcohol. So, I like most of what's happening in the series. I didn't find it personally exciting or like palpitating. There's a lot of cool stuff that happened. I was really wowed and pizzazzed, but honestly, this just felt like this was team 1 and team 2 playing. Like that's how I saw it. I don't think RNG is going to beat EDG in this. FunPlus qualifies for the finals, and I bet you if the rematch happens again, which I likely think is going to happen, it'll be close again. It'll be hard for me to tell who wins between these two teams in the grand final. Like, it is likely that RNG, Royal Never Give Up, is going to beat Edward Gaming, but given what I saw here, I don't think so. Yeah, I just don't think so. So things to like. I enjoyed the variety between the games. There was some repetition, but the repetition wasn't like one game after the other. There was like breaks between them, and they were based off of adaptations from one game to the next. Solid stuff. None of the team compositions made me wince and think, ooh, bad picks. Nope. The execution of the win conditions across the board, fairly solid. Vision, the best I've seen in a long time. Watched a lot of series with some really poor vision. This was really good to watch. Kept track of junglers really well. Let's see, what else? I think that like the particular ways in which the win conditions were approached were fun. I think mostly from the side of FunPlus Phoenix because they have a lot of flexibility between the two solo laners, right? Doinb and Nurguri are an unlikely pair of like not necessarily like one's the low skill expression, the other one's the high skill expression. No, it's more like the unlikely pair of two very high skilled players, one who is a selfless player versus the other one who's a selfish player. It's not who you think. uh, Being able to swap between each other their champion pools. They have a very large overlapping champion pool. And honestly, that gives rise to a lot of cool opportunities. Like in Game 5. In Game 5, they had the opportunity to flex Silas for top and mid, and then they last pick Akali, and it still allowed a lot of flexibility. It really showed how they wanted to approach it, and they got to make a good pick out of it because they definitely did the right choice. That game was a little ludicrous. I do think, however, that both sides, so both of the teams, have issue with over positioning, over committing. So there's a lot of eagerness to this, and I don't know if it has to do primarily with the fact that whoever won this was guaranteed the grand finals, or if this was like both of these organizations really wanting it. But there was a lot of moments where like a team would overcommit on something and be completely punished for it right off the bat in ways that don't do anything overall. In terms of the state of the games from game 1 through 3 were very close. Game 4, a little less so. And game 5 was just a snowbally mess. But for the vast majority of the series, both these teams are very even until like the actual closing fight. Which leads me to my next point. Both of these teams have a hard time like snowballing or ballooning their leads against one another. Now, this could mean a lot of different things. It could have to do, and again, context between these playoff series is important because these are the top 2 teams, at least as from what I can see, because there's still a losers bracket. EDG could completely crumble into pieces and like lose to RNG and then is no longer the top 2 team. That being said, these are still currently the top 2 teams, right? So the fact that one team couldn't balloon over the other could do with the fact that they're fairly even. Very likely. To me, however, even teams of high caliber, ones that are able to beat everybody else, should be able to adapt over time more and more. And it took way too long within this particular series for one team to learn how to snowball against the other. Now, this is a nitpick, mostly because I want to see the best of the best playoff into like the MSI and Worlds eventually, which means that the closer the teams are in a region, the harder it is for there to be like a solid definition of who the best team in that region is. And I understand that they'll send multiple Worlds, but in MSI, we won't actually get to see who the best of each region is internationally. That's like the small flaw in that particular tournament, is that if you get the number 1 team of that split, we know for a fact that it's rare for the number 1 team of Summer to win all of Worlds. Like, super rare. So yeah, who knows? That being said, either of these teams in the grand final could make it to MSI and be shoe-in favorites. I give it like a 60-40 split against Damwon Kia. But that's because I think they have a better early game. Just like solidly across the board, a better early game, and they close just as well. They don't close, like, they're not better at closing than Damwon, but they're good enough that I don't think there's going to be an issue. That's something I want both of these teams to fix. Both of these teams have a poor execution at closing games. They usually wait off until there's like been a big fight and there's a blowout. You don't always need that. And there's like a slight dependence to Baron. It's not huge. It's not something that I'm worried about specifically. But closing out games is not consistent with these two teams. And Damwon's very good at it. But I will take my bets with the team that I have significantly better early games over team that can miraculously against their own region finish at 25 minutes regardless of being 3k behind. I'm just saying. So this probably just tells me exactly what a lot of this, like the large variance across this particular playoffs. And by large variance, I mean like the fact that there's so many teams involved compared to everybody else. That the floor of the particular playoff to look at right now is just the whole thing. Because across the board, early games are so much easier to play with. And I don't have any worries about the ways these two teams play late game versus anybody else. There's going to be like a competition. There's definitely going to be like competitiveness between Europe and North Korea against anybody that's in this group. But they won't have to play each other until the second round thing. You know? Yeah. Fun things that I enjoyed with this. I found it fun that FunPlus Phoenix had a chance to look at Doinby as a carry for this series, as opposed to Nuguri. Nuguri was carrying FunPlus for the last couple of series, and fantastic to watch. But this was very fun. Big fan of Doing B, relatively so. I haven't followed his career as, you know, heavily as his fan base, but he's fun. He's cute. He's got a lot of bubbly attitude. He's got a lot of skills, and I think I like his approach to the game. Yeah, that's mostly what I haven't thought here. My brain is also kind of like, ooh. But yeah, best vision that they've seen all of like this series so far. Pretty solid early games, better than what the highest competition has to offer internationally, and just clean up the closing, or like the Snapchat, the very snippet, too long didn't watch thought process here. You guys let me know what you think. There's 2 more series left for China, which is great. Means we're in the home stretch. This is the one that had the most playoff series to it. Next up, I believe we're going to Turkey. Is that right? No, we're going to the Pacific. Wow, we don't go to Turkey for a while. I gotta skip a couple of steps here. No, we're going to the Pacific for J-Team versus Machi X. Ooh. Alright. Well, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And I'll see you in the next one.